Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a dashboard in Power BI. So please follow along as I show you. So the first thing that we do need to do is to make sure that the whole goal of this project is to learn how to import and visualize the data. So going I'm going to go over into my folder, and this is where I keep all my different, you know, tutorials. So right here you'll see financial sample. So we're gonna do that first. You may want to just like put this over here for now so that I'm gonna take this and put that there, and then we're gonna go back into Power BI. All right. So the next thing that we're gonna go ahead and do is we are going to open up Power BI. You can type it. I have the desktop version. And then what we're gonna do is you're gonna click, sign in. I'm gonna put my email in. And you don't really need to do that. So let's just sign in. There we go. And then we're gonna put in the email. Okay, so now the first thing, since what we're gonna import is an Excel file, we're gonna select import data from Excel. Then this is the spreadsheet that I want to import. So I'm gonna select financial sample, and then I'm going to upload it. Then the next thing that you want to do is on the left hand side, where it says navigator, we're gonna double click. We're gonna double click on this so that the load button highlights to this green and this green color, and then we're gonna click load. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do now is, since our dataset table has already been loaded, the next thing we're going to do is we need to go over to visualize and find a table visual. So the table is going to be this icon right here. If you hover over each and every one of these, it'll show you exactly the type of chart that you want. But for now, we just want the table. You can also bring it all the way down here, and since I want to have okay, so we're just going to have it up. We're going to extend it that far. And then the next thing that, we want to go ahead and do is over where it says data, you're going to select that. I'm going to move the little timer over here to the left hand side so you can see all the items that will show up on your table chart. And so the first thing that comes to my mind is sales. So this is going to show you the sales. Then the next thing is, I want to add a date. Okay, so now it's showing the year, quarter, month, and day. But I also want to see the gross sales too. So I'm going to add the gross sales. But then I also want to see the monthly numbers too. So we're just going to add this one right here. There we go. So those are the sum of the month numbers. And then I want to see the profit too. I want to show the profit. Then I also want to show the sales price. And then the segments. And then the units that were sold. And then the year. So that concludes really everything with the table. So the next thing is we want to be able to format this table to make it look pretty. So right here, we added the data to the visual, but now we're going to go over to format your visual. And it has different things that you can add to it. So for instance, we could decide to have this like a minimal. Or we could decide to have a bold header. Something like that. Or alternate rows, which I honestly do like that. So I think I'm going to stick with that. And then, so now we're going to go to the grid. Now, let's say I wanted to change the color. So I'm going to change it. Actually, I want to change it to orange. And I want to make the border a little bit bigger. And so I'm good with the grid now. So now I'm going to do the values. So the font that I like to use is Corbel because it's very legible. You can read it very well, but I also like to make it a little bit bigger. So the text color, the background color, that's nice. The alternate text color, we're fine there. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that's it for the values part. So the column headers. Again, I want everything to be consistent. So I'm going to select Corbel. And then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 12. And then I want everything to be centered on the headings. All right, so the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to close the text up because we're done with the text. And then we have the options, which we could either use fit to content, which it's at right now, or grow to fit. I kind of like grow to fit because it fills in that little empty space. So, so now we are going over, let's go to totals now. So totals, Corbel, that looks good. So there's not much of a need to change that. Yeah, everything looks good for totals. Let's go to the specific column, which first, we want to make sure that we apply a header and then apply a total, of course. And so the first thing that I wanted to say sum of sales. So, and then for values, I'm going to select for the text color. So you could actually change the colors. I honestly just want to keep it the same. I don't really want to change anything. I do want to change the alignment just to make sure that it's all centered, it's all consistent. But oh, I just found out, I just saw something. So right here, let's go back over to values. So these are the little things that you have to watch out for. And then the other ones, and then the cell elements. All right. So yeah, so we don't need that open. No, we don't need any of this open. No, nothing like this needs to be open. So we're just going to go ahead and just keep the font color as is. So that is going to be, so the sum of sales will be blue. So the next thing is, this is the URL icon. And then the image size. The image size is fine. I don't have there's not a big problem there with it. And then I want to say like monthly accessibility. All right. So we did that. So we already went through the format. Now we're going to go to general. So over in properties, I mean, that looks fine. The position looks fine. I don't think there's going to be that much we're going to have to do with these. Padding. No, not really. There's nothing that we can do with padding of the title. You can put in monthly sales, and then you could put in, you could change the heading to be heading 2, and then change it to Corbel. You're gonna make this probably gonna make this pretty big, a little bigger. And then of course, we're gonna make this bold. And there we go. We're gonna center that. And then the next thing that we are gonna do is we're gonna go to subtool. I don't think there's really much anything that we're gonna add over here. And then the divider, of course. You're just gonna go ahead and put there a solid. And then the spacing, of course, is customized spacing. Let's see actually what this does. And then for the effect, we're gonna do for the background, I don't really want to touch the background, the visual border. So we're just gonna go ahead and let's make the visual border, orange. And let's change the width to 2 pixels. So the next thing that we are going to be doing also is I'm going to look at shadow. So you can add a shadow. It can be, you could change the color of it to be like this. So yeah, I don't really like the shadow, but you could add it if you want it. If you do want to add it, it doesn't have to be outside, it could be inside. So you have like a 3-dimensional look to your chart. And then, you could do it like center, and then the date format is some sales. Date format, I'm going to go with date of month. And then for And then for header icons, I think all of that is fine. All of this is pretty fine. Report page, yeah, I like that idea. And then the text, of course, needs to be Corbel. And we're going to bring that up to 12. And then we are going to... We're not even going to use this, alt text. There's really not much to do there. You can leave. Visual, but that is the first part of this assignment. The next part is we're also going to be adding a bar chart. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to visualizations, and we are going to select a bar chart. And it doesn't have to be a bar chart, it could be, but we're going to do a bar chart. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So before you add another chart, you have to click on the white empty space, because then it'll automatically replace everything. So I'm going to add this one, and since we're going to be adding another one, I'm just going to go ahead and select this. Let's go over here. And then what we're going to do now is, let's just move. So we're going to click the sales, obviously. We're going to click all the same things that we did. Date. That's just going to include the date, year, quarter, month, day. The gross sales. We're going to have the monthly numbers. We're going to have the profit, the sales price, the segment, and the units sold. Or actually, yes, the units sold and the year. So we've got a lot here. And then, we do want to create. And then the next chart we're going to do, this one is going to be the pie chart. So we're going to select pie chart, and we're going to select the same things. Now, we're probably, this time, I think I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm just going to select sales. I'm not even going to select like the date or anything. I'm just going to select gross sales, what the monthly numbers were. Actually, no, not the monthly numbers. Profit, sales price, segment, and then units sold. And so there you go. That is really how you create, a dashboard in Power BI. So you can really have fun with all the filters. There is one last thing that we do have to do, and it's to add a slicer. So where you see the visualizations, there's many different visualizations. We have to select the visualizations input. So basically, you could put contains all. Actually, maybe that's not a good one to use. Let's not use that one. I don't like that one. You could also do like a list slicer, and you could select like and then if you want to unselect that and select 2013, it changes down there. So that really is, the other thing that you can do is you can add a button slicer. So that you could select each one, and it's on each day. I like the button slicer the most because you see the day, the month, and the year, and you see the sales. So I like that the most. That's one of my favorites. So this concludes our lesson on how to create a dashboard. I hope this video helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks. Bye-bye.